Hi, I'm Joe Shanahan, the owner of the Metro. What you're about to see is the Siamese Dream record release shows here at Metro, August 14th, 1993.
Hey everybody, it's social media producer Tom Barnes for WGN, the Chicago scene, keeping the heartbeat of the music industry alive in Chicago with two godfathers, pioneers of Chicago music, Joe Shanahan from the Metro and Jimmy Chamberlin from the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I feel like I should be doing the Wayne's World bow to you guys just because, I mean, this is awesome. So thank you for joining me on my segment. I appreciate it.
Good morning, Tom.
So Jimmy, tell me about this experience with how you got involved in this 25 band Chicago virtual music festival and obviously the Pumpkins are a huge part of the music scene in Chicago. Why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, it just started with an email, and I got an email from Michael Harnett saying that he was thinking about doing this. And Jerry and Joe and I have a 30+ year history. So anytime Jerry has an endeavor, I'm always happy to help, just because he is, and will always be such a big part and so additive to our career. He was always well over and above the call of duty when he would film our shows. We couldn't even get our record companies to come to Chicago because of budgets, and here this guy would show up with 7 HD cameras, and back then cameras were huge and they cost $100,000. And
right,
he just loved his job and his gigs so much that it was infectious, and it really allowed you to kind of focus on gratitude, right? When you saw somebody attached peripherally to your business and your endeavors, with such willful ambition and love for it, it was infectious. So it was just always great to have Jerry around. He was always smiling, and I loved doing his show. I loved when he come to the Metro, and the Metro too was just such an iconic. I mean, back in '88, I probably spent more time at Metro and Smart Bar than I did in my apartment, right? I mean, Joe can attest to that. Probably because the heat worked at Metro and it didn't work in my apartment. But
we just have enough people in it to keep it warm,
Yeah, that's never a problem in the middle of the winter in that place, right? It's always nice.
No, absolutely.
But I mean, you really can't talk about this period of Chicago music that we're focusing on without keying in on Jerry, just because he was such a huge part of it, and really, as a documentarian, second to none. I mean, the content that he's in possession of is arguably some of the greatest rock and roll music footage that exists today. And kudos to Joe for bringing those great bands through Chicago and making them accessible to Jerry, to allowing those people to meet Jerry and learn about what he was doing. But I've been to his studio, hundreds of times, and always take time to wander through his vault and just marvel at the amount of content the guy has, not only of mine, but I mean, you're talking about the first time REM played at Metro, the first time Oasis played at Metro, Nirvana, Mudhoney, Soundgarden.
Right. It was the place to be back. I mean, it still is, obviously, but it was growing up. You hear that age group of kids that are in high school and maybe even junior high, where they are discovering music at a rapid pace. And then during that time, I was in high school in the early 90s. I mean, you were at Smart Bar. You were if you were allowed to, because you had to be able to be 21. But upstairs to see a concert, I felt like the Metro and JBTV were like these things together that was such a unique and wonderful thing in Chicago. And I'm so happy that it took place. And then the fact that JBTV recorded all of these bands before everybody else did. Nobody was doing it, not even MTV. It was amazing.
Tom, just to tag on what Jimmy was saying and what you're saying is that first and foremost, Jerry is a fan of music. He is a massive fan of Chicago music, but also music in general. So he was taking chances on bands that nobody heard and still does to this day. So this Chicago-centric, virtual festival that is launching this weekend, it will benefit the Chicago Independent Venue League and the Chicago music community in general, because the money that is going to be raised will be for the Chicago CIVL Save Fund, which will help artists, venues, and staff that are currently out of work for a year to bring back the Chicago-centric aspect that Jimmy was talking about. In those days, the show that they're going to show this weekend as part of the virtual festival is the 1993 Smashing Pumpkins Siamese Dream Lift. This was the first show. Yeah, we did 3 nights, and they recorded one. I remember, Jimmy, we were passing posters and CDs out to people, and they were climbing into the sound booth trying to grab, a ticket or a flyer or a poster. I was there. I remember it was like Beirut. It was just people just crawling in to try to get pieces of paper. It was such an exciting time. 1993 Metro Smashing Pumpkins. It had the thrust of NASA. Something was just taking off. We all knew how important that was. And to your point, Tom, it's a rite of passage for so many young people. A Metro show, a Smashing Pumpkins show. And at the time, the alchemy of those two things were absolutely 100% congealed and happening at the same time. And Jerry and Michael and his team were able to capture that. I think that the festival alone for the Pumpkin show should be fun. I understand there's plenty of outtakes and some behind the scenes stuff that will be also involved. So
Jimmy, have you seen any of this video?
I've seen the edited version, but I'm starting to sweat a little bit hearing about outtakes. Just as JC in '93 is not JC in 2021.
Let's just say none of those are in Smart Bar, Jimmy. With that B-roll became D-roll. That's gone. But let me just say, JC, if you remember, how the scene was so happening at that time. Everybody was really supporting each other. And Jerry was one of those guys that just stood up as a fan and said, I'm in. He sometimes would not even get paid on some of these shows just to make sure he got them recorded. And that's why it's Chicago-centric. That's why CIVL's involved. That's why the National Independent Venue Association, NIVA, is involved. Those are the beneficiaries of the ticket sales for the event. Very important aspect of it. And one more thing, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this, but Nordiff Robbins is the musical therapy foundation in England. They're also a beneficiary of this.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
so
I was going to say, I was going to say, it's interesting for me, Joe knows I came from Joliet. So when I joined the Pumpkins, I didn't know much about alternative music at all. I was playing in a variety show band. I was kind of just a gigger guy.
JP and the Cats.
Yeah, right. So for me, JBTV and the Metro was that's where I learned to be alternative, right? Even in my, late teens and early 20s, it's where you learn, it's where you learned about culture and the culture of the times. And, JBTV was really the documentarian of that cultural shift that was going on. And the Metro, the Metro was the university, right? And we all went to the college of that cultural shift. And it became, that huge, movement of music, both Chicago, Seattle, LA. Our second or third show was playing with Jane's Addiction at the Metro. And, I was like, who the heck?
The night before Thanksgiving, Jimmy.
Yeah,
night before Thanksgiving.
That's crazy that you remember that just like that. That's awesome. I love that.
We served Thanksgiving dinner in Smart Bar to you, Billy, Perry, Steven, Avery, Jimmy, James, Darcy, the whole team. It was so much fun.
And I remember after that gig, it was an early show. We actually unloaded our gear and walked it down Clark Street to play the late show at Avalon.
That's right. Exactly.
I can see that right now, just this cavalry going down Clark Street. That's amazing.
Right, freezing cold, getting yelled at by cops. It was like, oh my God.
The rite of passage that you're talking about, for sure.
Hey, Tom, I remember wrangling a few cabs for the band that night, trying to see if we could fit amplifiers and guitars in back seats.
And we all know Chicago cabbies and how lovely they are to want to put stuff in their car and help out. So,
Right.
I just want to touch on one thing that you talked about the University of the Metro and finding yourself. You're from Joliet. I'm from Palos Hills, which is not very far from Joliet. But the South Side that way is like a different planet compared to that area of the city, like the Lakeview, Wrigleyville area. And when I started going to the Metro to see shows like the Pumpkins and, you know, the Foo Fighters and all these bands, Pearl Jam started rolling in through there. I was like, this is where I belong. Like, this is where I feel like the most me. So as a,
but you found your tribe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You found your tribe. And that's what Jimmy's saying, is that we all kind of found each other at a very interesting time. I'm from the South Side of Chicago originally. I'm from the Beverly area.
Oh, okay. Just down the street, down 111th.
So like White Sox fan sort of growing up and then discovering the Cubs later in life and then falling in love with Wrigley and Lakeview and all that stuff. But yeah, it's important to really look at that time and look at that moment as we move forward. I wanted to make sure that we also mentioned that like a band like Twin Peaks is also going to be part of this virtual festival.
Yeah, why don't you get the whole lineup, because we talked about a couple, but there's a ton, including like the Fallout Boy and AWOL Nation, but other ones of Chicago centric.
Well, I mean, really, Twin Peaks, Fallout Boy, Local H, Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any four of those shows. One of the coolest thing about the festival is that you can buy like a $20 VOD pass that will last a week. So you could look at these concerts and look at this festival over a period of 7 days once you purchase the 3-day pass. The 1-day pass is only $12. And quite honestly, while we can't serve you a drink or sell you a ticket to come see a show at the Metro right now, this helps the fund, the staff, the venues, and the artists that are currently out of work for the last year through the Civil Save Fund. But Alt J is going to be one of the bands. Mayday Parade is going to be one of the bands. Filter is another one that had a very Chicago-centric sort of feeling. You know, Richard and his guys were at Metro and Smart Bar all the time, right, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those guys could drink.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear the best of
us. That's right.
I did hear a rumor about some $500 VIP package for the festival where Kelly Way would actually mix you a drink and bring it to your doorstep. Is that happening, Joe?
JC, if you want that to happen, I guarantee you I can make that happen. Absolutely. She would love that. Kelly Way is the general manager of Metro and Smart Bar and has been with the company for 25 years. And JC and I have a lot of fun nights with Kelly.
Outstanding. And I think one of the most important things to talk about is that these performances can be as old as from 30 years ago. These aren't just, you know, the last couple of years. These are the archives of some of these concerts most people maybe haven't seen in quite some time or ever. So this is a very unique thing, and I think very unique to Chicago for us to experience.
Correct. And it's 20 hours and over 30 bands. I mean, that's a lot. So it's like from 2 p.m. until like 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend.
So this festival goes from the 12th to the 14th of February, where people can, and I will have the website up where people can go find the tickets, but it's a JBTV Revolution Television Virtual Music Festival of 2021, right?
Wow, that's a mouthful. Tom, you did really good job on that. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I got a little cheat sheet right over here. That's the beauty of it.
There you go.
But yeah, I didn't want to screw it up. You know, when things are in the normal times, you guys are busy. You're out on the road, you're recording music, you're putting on shows. So what is something that you're doing to keep from going nuts at home to fill that time? Have you done anything new? Are you working on any different concepts of how to put on a show?
So, you know, to your point, you know, the Pumpkins rarely get a chance to, we rarely get a year of runway, right? So, So, you know, last year we released Sear, the 20-song CD. Billy and I and James and company recorded another 13-song psychedelic record that will come out at some point. And right now I'm in my studio working on what will be a 33-song follow-up to Melancholy and Machina. Going
Really?
to
That
Nashville.
sounds
Going to,
great.
going to
That's
Nashville.
awesome. Yeah.
Going to Nashville at the end of the month to record drums for the record. And yeah, we've been busy. You know, we've been using the opportunity to just really record as much music as we can, and we've been having a great time. I mean, it's really. I've got a studio here. Billy lives down the street in Highland Park, so we're really close to each other. We've been working together a lot. And
yeah, you got nice digs back behind you there. You're in your studio.
Yeah. No, it's my little studio man cave.
In bunker from your
Yeah,
family.
right. Yeah, I don't mind spending time down here. To your point, you know, it's been up close and personal at home with the family. But yeah, just we're spending a lot of time just playing and creating music.
To tag on to what JC is saying, well, you know, I'm in my wife's office actually in our home today because it has the best internet connection. But you know, I figured out something in April because I sat home for a month and I figured something out personally. My routine had to change. I wasn't going to sit around in my pajamas. I'm just not that guy. So I began to go to work and I started going Monday, Wednesday. I started going Mondays and Wednesdays and then went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's throw a Saturday in. And I think what happened was, as I got back to a 5-day work schedule, I began to try to find ways to repurpose Metro as a soundstage. We've done some videos in there with Natalie Bergman, Wild Bell, just recently, the Chicago Children's Choir, Rise Against. There's a band called FACS, Facts, that's used the space. A local band called Ghost Forest. So I've tried to do the COVID and CDC guidelines of, 20 people only in the Metro, 1,000 capacity room.
Yeah.
And capture some creativity still, because that room needs to ring with music. It needs to ring with creativity. And that's what I've been focusing on is keeping the room alive, keeping the lights on. And then of course my activity with CIVL, the Chicago Independent Venue League, the National Independent Venue Association, and the SOS Fund and the SVOG Fund. SVOG stands for Shuttered Venue Operators Grants. We're trying to raise and get money from Washington to really subsidize our expenses. But today we're really talking about CIVL and the CIVL Save Fund and the JBTV Music Festival. We really hope everyone will participate in this. Dig down, buy 2 tickets. Hey, it's a nice Valentine's Day
absolutely.
And it's the music that we all know and love, and it's all these great bands that Jerry and Michael have strung together in a beautiful presentation. 30 bands, 20 hours of music. I don't see how you can go wrong.
Yeah, and it's to preserve the very music that we are about to embark on watching with this 25 plus bands, 3 days, starting the 12th, which will be today, through the 14th, because if it wasn't for these independent music venues like yours and the other ones all over the city, none of this music would be in this format to be seen. And I think that's a huge thing that people need to remember, that this money and this activity goes to saving those special, like the coming of age stories of so many kids and adults that figured out their way at the University of the Metro, as Jimmy said earlier. So thank you for what you both are doing. As somebody who loves the music scene in Chicago and appreciates it, this is great, and I'm happy to help.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
And I hope that this sets forth the path to get us back to the venues themselves, to hear live music again, to be hot and sweaty in a crowd and rocking out to just some rock and roll, right?
No question.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time, and Godspeed with the projects.